On this results sheet for your InBody570 body scan, there's a display of over 47 parameters. The first one that I like to show people is this one down here. This is the basal metabolic rate. So the basal metabolic rate for this person, who is male and 50 years old, is 2,032 calories. Basal metabolic rate is very important to know when it comes to eating in a calorie surplus or a calorie deficit. Now, as most of you probably know, if you want to lose weight, you have to eat in a deficit, and if you want to gain some muscle, you have to eat in a surplus. Now, most people know this, however, they don't know what the basal metabolic rate is. That's why it's important to know your basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate can be improved and increased the more muscle you have. That's why it's really important to remember to put on more muscle so that your basal metabolic rate can increase. Especially for females, their basal metabolic rate could be very low, and that is why it's important for them to gain more muscle so that they are able to eat more without having to worry about putting on fat. What basal metabolic rate is if you wake up in the day, do absolutely nothing, just rest all day and go to bed, that is how many calories you burn. Then we go here to the top. So this is the total body weight, 91.6, and in the brackets we have the average for other people of the age and the gender. So of the total, 91.6, this person consists of total body water, 56.5 liters, protein, this is what they call dry muscle mass. So if you take out the water out of your muscles and just leave the dry muscle mass, then this person has 15 kilos. Minerals, 5.42, so that's the minerals in the bones, and body fat mass, 14.6. So this person has 14.6 kilos of body fat. However, they're in the average, so that's good for them. Over here, we have muscle fat analysis. So this person's weight, 91.6, so they're just in the over range. Skeletal muscle mass, that's the muscle around your skeleton, like your arms and your legs, which is great for knowing your skeletal muscle mass because your heart is also a muscle. So you don't want a big heart, that will be bad for you. So 43.6 is in the over range, but it's good because it's muscle. The more muscle, the better. Body fat mass, 14.6 kilos of body fat. So it's in the normal. Now, looking at this, it's kind of confusing. What does it mean? So when you do your body scan, you will have received a booklet, and on page 3, you will say it says results made simple, essentially. Now, pretty much what it says there, it uses the traffic light system. If your weight and your body fat mass is more than your skeletal muscle mass, you will have a C like this. If it's the same, it will be an I, so everything will be in a straight line, which is an orange light, which is all right, getting better. And if your skeletal muscle mass is more, like this person's, you'll have a D, as you can see. Now, of course, this person can work on getting a little bit more muscle, losing a bit of fat, and then they'll have a nice D shape. Then moving on to the next one, is calculated analysis. BMI we don't use anymore because BMI is inaccurate in a way. If someone is short and muscular, we'll obviously often say that they're obese. Nowadays, we obviously talk about percentage body fat. So this person's percentage body fat is 16%, which is in the normal range, so it's pretty good. They don't really need to lose any fat, however, maybe a kilo or so. Segmental lean analysis, this is how much muscle you've got in each body part. So your right arm, left arm, trunk, which is your shoulders down to your hips, right leg and left leg. Now, as you can see, the top line is kilograms and the bottom line is percentage. So once again, in the booklet that you will get on page 4, somewhere down the bottom it says 100%. So pretty much what it is saying is everything should be at least 100% to essentially, fill the whole capacity, I guess. So this person's right arm is 121, left arm 118, trunk 109, and the legs are 108 and 108. Which is really good. This person has a very good overall body. Now, often, I would say 98% of the time, the top 3 is very good, and people's legs are usually lacking dramatically. So most often, people's legs are under 100%, which then means that they need to focus on their legs. The best part to tell what you need to focus on is make sure that everything is at least in the normal range, which it is for this person, and make sure everything is kind of the same. So whichever one is lacking, that's what you need to work on. Next one is body water analysis. So your body water, this person is normal. Most people's isn't normal because your body already has a lot of water in it. But if you do drink a lot of water, yours will be much higher. Now, to read more about the body water analysis, just check inside the book that you would have gotten for your scan. Then down here we go, arm muscle circumference. If you measure the muscle in your arm, That's the circumference of it, but obviously there's bones in there. So then this is the arm circumference. So if you put your arm straight in front of you, extend your arm and measure where your bicep is without tensing, that's roughly how much it will be. This is an internal measurement though, which is more accurate because it doesn't take into account human error and stuff like that when you use a tape. Then over here you can read more about some of these things in the book. Other important one is visceral fat level. So visceral fat is the bad fat around your vital organs, the ones that you see all the TV ads about. So anything between 1 and 9 is good. So it doesn't matter if it's higher or lower really. On average, from most of the fit-ish people I've seen, 7 I would say is a good number to aim for, because this person over here is relatively fit, quite fit actually, and their visceral fat is 7. Then more about this water you can read in the book. Basal metabolic rate can be explained to you by your fitness professional essentially, just more in regards to if you're trying to eat in a surplus or a deficit, and depending on what your goals are, depends what you should do. This one over here is segmental circumference, so the circumference of all your different body parts. Once again, internal measurement, so it won't be exactly the same if you measure it yourself, but this is more accurate. Segmental fat analysis, how much fat you have in each of your different body parts, so right arm, left arm, trunk, shoulders down to your hips, right leg, left leg. Now, of course, trunk always has the most fat because that is where you carry your fat. Over here, we see the body balance evaluation. So this one just kind of evaluates your body based on everything, based on your fat, based on your muscle, based on your bones, and so on. So this person's, the upper is balanced because they have a lot of muscle in their arms, not too much fat. Lower, which is the legs, balanced because they've got muscle and not too much fat. Upper, lower, theirs is balanced. However, most people's are usually slightly unbalanced due to the fact that that's where they've got all their fat and not much muscle there. Now up here is weight control. This number is really not important necessarily, but it's a guide, especially if you're trying to lose weight. This number is very accurate because it just kind of gives you a target weight. A lot of women, for example, when they're trying to lose weight, they don't exactly know where they should go to, how far down they should go. So this one just gives you a good target weight. So this person's is 90.5, says they need to lose 1.1 kilograms of fat. Now often, if you don't have enough muscle, it would say you need to lose some fat and gain some muscle, or you don't have to lose any fat, but you have to gain some muscle. Now this number is accurate because I've spoken to many people before, and they may have just done a scan post-baby, and this one says that they need to weigh, say, 60, and then they tell me that they looked their best when they were 60. So from my experience, this is definitely a very accurate number. Then overall, it just gives you a total score. 89 out of 100 this person got. Now once again, in the booklet that you got, on page 5, it gives you information based on your score, just kind of telling you what sort of person you are, where you are in your fitness journey essentially. However, don't worry too much about this number. It's just a bit of an indication, and so you can set a bit of a goal. Now you can go over 100 as well, but 89 is very good for this person.